5,000, that's how many people Rome lost every single day at the height of the crisis. Not for a week, not for a month, for 21 years. Between 249 and 270 CE, a mysterious illness swept across the Roman Empire, and when it finally passed, 2 emperors had fallen, Alexandria had lost 62% of its population, and an entire civilization had been transformed forever. To understand what happened, you need to understand what Rome had built. By the mid-3rd century, the empire stretched from Britain to Syria, from the Rhine to the Sahara. 50 million people connected by roads, trade routes, and a single currency. Ships carried grain from Egypt to Rome. Soldiers marched from legion to legion. And diseases could travel faster than any army. The very success of Rome created the conditions for its greatest crisis. Here's the verified timeline, according to historical records. The illness first appeared in Ethiopia or Egypt around 249 CE. Within months, it reached Alexandria, one of the ancient world's largest cities. By 250, it had spread to Carthage in North Africa. By 251, Rome itself was affected. Within 2 years, the entire Mediterranean world was engulfed. No province was spared. The scale is difficult to comprehend. In Rome, ancient sources record 5,000 victims per day at the peak. In Alexandria, we have more precise data. Bishop Dionysius documented the number of people receiving public grain. Even emperors were not immune. In 251 CE, the young Emperor Hostilian, just 21 years old, became the first imperial victim of the plague. 19 years later, Emperor Claudius Gothicus, fresh from a stunning military victory over the Goths, also fell to the illness. The disease did not distinguish between commoner and emperor. Pontius, a deacon in Carthage, left us an eyewitness account. He wrote of people fleeing from their own families, of the sick being abandoned in the streets, of bodies left without proper burial. Quote, "No one did to another what he himself wished to experience. The social fabric was unraveling. Trust between neighbors, between families, was breaking down." The most detailed account comes from Bishop Cyprian of Carthage, who gave the plague its name. In 252 CE, he wrote De Mortalitate on mortality, a treatise that documents the crisis. He wrote, "This pestilence searches out the righteousness of each one, to see whether those who are well tend the sick, whether relatives affectionately love their kindred." For Cyprian, the plague was a moral test. But not everyone fled. Dionysius, Bishop of Alexandria, documented something remarkable. While pagan physicians escaped to country estates, Christian communities organized relief efforts. They cared for the sick, not just their own, but everyone. Quote, "Most of our brother Christians showed unbounded love and loyalty, never sparing themselves. Many caregivers themselves perished. But their actions would transform history in ways no one could have predicted." Sociologist Rodney Stark calculated that basic nursing care, simply providing food and water, could reduce mortality by as much as 2/3. Communities with organized care had dramatically higher survival rates. The plague didn't just spread disease, it spread a reputation. By the 4th century, even the pagan Emperor Julian admitted, "Christians take better care of the sick and poor than we do." What was the Plague of Cyprian? After centuries of study, we still don't know for certain. Historian Kyle Harper believes it may have been a viral hemorrhagic fever, something like Ebola. Others suggest smallpox or measles. The ancient descriptions don't match any single modern disease perfectly. And unfortunately, DNA analysis has proven impossible. The Egyptian climate destroyed all genetic evidence. But, in January 2024, researchers published a breakthrough. By analyzing marine sediments from the Gulf of Taranto, they discovered a striking pattern. The Plague of Cyprian coincided with a pronounced cold period. Temperatures dropped as much as 3 degrees below the Roman climatic optimum. Kyle Harper, co-author of the study, now believes climate stress may have been a major factor in triggering the pandemic. In 2014, Italian archaeologists announced a remarkable discovery. At Luxor, Egypt, they found a site that had been used during the plague. 3 lime kilns. Lime was the ancient world's disinfectant, had been hastily constructed. Nearby, a giant bonfire containing human remains. Bodies covered in thick layers of lime. No funeral rites. No ceremonies. The excavator, Francesco Tiradriti, said they had to dispose of them without losing any time. The plague struck during Rome's most vulnerable moment, the crisis of the 3rd century, 26 emperors in 50 years. The empire fragmented into 3 competing states. Currency collapsed. Hyperinflation reached 1,000%. Labor shortages meant fields went untended, wages tripled, and the economic system buckled. The Rome that emerged from the plague was fundamentally different from the Rome that had entered it. The verified historical record shows just how severe this crisis was. Here you can see the political chaos, emperor after emperor falling to assassination or battle. The military losses weakened every frontier. Germanic tribes crossed the Rhine. Persians pushed into Syria. The same year Emperor Claudius Gothicus fell to the plague. The empire's eastern provinces were under constant attack. Rome was fighting on every front with a fraction of its former strength. The Plague of Cyprian didn't end Rome, but it transformed it forever. And while Rome struggled against an invisible enemy within its borders, an all-too-visible enemy waited on its eastern frontier. The same weakness that the plague created would hand the Persian Empire its greatest victories, including the destruction of a fortress city that would become archaeology's most dramatic time capsule. That story is next. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe to see what happened.